Hello, everybody. Today is the 13th day of June. Took me a minute. It's I just forgot it already, 32nd day, my second year. And I wanted to call this video Happy Haunts, but I don't think that's really a good, and I had another name for it too. I think it was Old in the New or something. I got to come up with a cool title. Maybe by the end of it, I'll come up with the title. But I had two things today that involved me. Get a little comfortable. I had two things that happened to me today that involved me going into an old location, that I was very well known in previously under new under new management, new me in the old. Maybe that's new me, old places or something. But anyway, two places. So I wanted just to make a video, which I think this is a very happy thing. I mean, it's very, very, very happy. Not a bad thing at all. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. No negativity whatsoever. But my first happy haunt was my work. We're moving. My team has moved to the area that we used to work about 2 years ago. Almost the identical same cubes. I think I'm one cube over. And so today, bright and early, I gathered my stuff, and I wanted to do it kind of when nobody was around anyway. Less questions. And I moved my stuff from my current spot in a building to another building, same location, same company, whatnot. But it was interesting because by maybe the third or fourth trip, as people were coming into work and pulling in and getting used and doing what they wanted to do, they were encountering me. And some of them had seen me before. Some of them had known me before. Some of them probably had heard about me. Just, hey, there's a transgender person. And there was a number of them who were brand new to the company who, didn't know me before, didn't really know me now, whatever. But it was interesting because I was like back on the floor that I was 2 years ago. I had spent 2 years on, and it was the period of time in my life where I was like thinking about transitioning. I wanted to think, I was weighing my options, and it was before I started hormones and everything. And before I started, transitioning on my timetable, whereas, I started to wear female clothes to work. I worked my way through it, but this is before that. I mean, this is like a long time ago as far as my history goes. And so it was just kind of neat to be like in this, like kind of when you go back to your old high school or something, several years after you graduate, the facility, the walls are still there, the bathroom is still there, it's just, people have changed somewhat. And some of them did, some of them didn't. And even this morning, I think I even startled a couple of folks, one of them in particular, who came to see me because they didn't recognize me. And then it took them a couple of minutes and like, oh, Robin, it's you, And like I said, it was kind of like I guess you say an old shoe or, something, you ride a bicycle, you get back into that routine, but it was just neat to be like people who were not part of my initial circle. There was, when I transitioned at work, there was the initial, my team, and then one layer out, and finally, I think wasn't the CEO, but a bigwig had said, this is happening, and if your people have any problems, tell them to come see me, and I'll take care of them. I mean, my company's been really awesome, but again, it felt really, really good. And again, some women who, again, knew me before, came up to me, Robin, how are you? They didn't necessarily do the, oh, you look so good, and that's fine. That's fine. That's crap. You want honesty. But anyway, so again, it just made me feel really, really good. Take that for what you will. And as I left this afternoon, I was feeling a little sick, but from the heat and everything, but it was one of those things that was like, it felt good to be kind of home and to be myself. So that's part one, happy haunt. The other happy haunt was tonight is the open tabletop board game night at the gaming shop that I used to frequent quite a bit, and actually spent many quite a few Saturdays throwing dice at the gaming table and moving little pieces of plastic. And let's see if I can get one real quick. It's much bigger than my little Blood Angels, much smaller piece than this. But anyway, and this is obviously a figurine, but a model, Warhammer 40K and Dungeons and Dragons and card games and everything. And was on a first name basis with the owner of the store, because that's what they do. They man the cash register, and it's hey, how are you? Hey, have you seen the latest blah blah blah? I know you like it. Why don't you buy some? I mean, I've been in that role myself as a former game store owner, but it's neither here nor there. So tonight, it has been at least a year and a half, if not 2 years, since I've been in that store. And the last time I was in there, I was actually trying to get a Dungeons and Dragons game off the ground. And so I worked with the store owner again, trying to set up a time and flyers and get the word out that I'm trying to start a game and meeting people and whatnot. And so again, this person and I had this as close as you can get probably to a customer owner type thing. And as I'm walking up the steps to the gaming store, I'm like, I'm more terrified of this than I have anything else. But I pushed through it and went inside. And as it turns out, the owner was helping another person, and I could hear them rolling the games in the back. So I was kind of tempted to go back there, but I just had this whimsy of, I want to see if he knows who I am. And so I kind of acted myself, where is everything? Of course I knew where everything was 2 years ago, right? I knew where the bathroom was. And just, he looked at me and I looked at him, and probably someone could say, oh, he knew who you were. He was just being polite. And it's possible, but he was just out of the box. Hello, ma'am. Can I help you? And again, this is the kind of guy that you share beer with, and so to be treated that, I keep looking at myself because I'm like, do I look different? To be treated so differently, somewhat, and again, as a retail store owner, you're going to be friendly with everybody again, but it was just kind of neat. And he escorted me back to where they were playing, and he introduced, oh, we have a new person, and immediately they were, oh, come on over, join us, and later on, as we were reading the rules, they're like, well, let's ask her what she thinks, so again, it was just so cool to be just welcomed into this. It was an old arena, and I was a little worried about going back, and I could be full of shit and fooling myself anyway, but I like to think that I'm not. But I couldn't help but noticing he was single, and he's definitely attractive. I mean, gosh. Ooh, I'm feeling a feeling in my nether regions. Not really, my nether regions don't feel anything. But anyway, possibility there, but that's not what this is about. This is again about a happy haunt, a place that I used to frequent before that, I don't know, as a single person before, and now as a single woman. And he has gray hair. He's just beautiful, handsome person. And I have gray hair, and I'm a beautiful, pretty woman sort of from a distance. So it's really, really cool. Like I said, just want to share two happy haunts. And I'm going to go back. And I was tempted to. I had a Plenty of Fish date kind of set up earlier in the week, and it kind of fell through. And the more I found myself, I can go to the game shop. They meet twice a week and play games and meet people that actually we kind of have an interest in common. Now, that said, I keep looking at myself. I'm sorry. For a person who hated mirrors and their reflection for a long time, and once you transition, you're like, how do I look? How do I look? I was a little concerned tonight about the girls. There were two gamer girls, which gaming girls are very, very rare. And I was almost like, am I gonna out myself because girls know usually. But it was all cool. And like I said, as I walked out, I kind of, glanced at him with my eyes. And I was like, oh, thank you so much for letting me come in. Thank you for having. And he's like, we do this again, every Thursday. And I was like, oh, God, I want to come back. But anyway. And then on the way home, as I was walking, I'm like, I wonder how I look. You look at your reflection in cars and whatnot. And there was a guy who was just sitting on a stoop, and he was, it had been raining earlier, and he said something to me, or I said something to him. I just said, hello, how are you? And we had this, 3-sentence conversation, and, I said, well, you have a good day. It was good to meet you. And he said, well, you too, baby. You look out, I was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? And of course, as I'm driving home, I'm looking in the mirror and I can see the shade. And, now it's not really here because I put a light over here so it brightens it up. But I had my 9th laser session on Saturday. And it's one of those things now, like, there's a lot of like salt and pepper, like little pepper flecks, dead hairs that are just kind of working their way up the skin. And probably if I could pick them out, I probably could. So it's just, I'm aware of it. Probably no one else in the world is. I'm aware of it, and I don't like it, but it's one of those things, from a distance when I'm back here, you probably don't care. Or even up here, when I'm up here, you probably don't care. You don't give a crap, especially if you're, like I said, guy on the street. Hey, baby, you take care, Oh, God, what a difference this is. I mean, and I was worried, too, about my voice as well. And, it's one of those things. I think there's a certain amount of, and it's probably going to come out like a sour grapes thing, but when you're your authentic self, you know what I mean? I don't know. Ask me in a year, okay? My hope in a year is to have, bigger breasts and more along the path, some of those slight changes. And, ask me if I'm going to meet a guy, and be like, oh, hello, how are you? You know what I mean? I won't do that, I kind of tend to, this is my range, which it was kind of always my range. But then there's that temptation of, well, if I try to go a little bit higher, will he like me anymore? And I'm just so over the moon. He's just so handsome. And, he and I are going to be together forever. Well, that's okay if I could maintain this all the time. And I probably could, the more that I talk and the more practice that I get. But then again, it's one of those things you have to ask yourself, is this really me? Or is this my facsimile of what a female might be? And again, I can close my eyes and let my true emotions come through. And it may sound a little bit better, but then, I live in fear of that, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, I'm going to wake up one morning and Mr. Wonderful is going to look at me and say, oh, Robin, I just love you so much. And I'm going to look at him and go, oh, I love you too. So, it's just be yourself and realize that people come in all shapes and sizes. And, Cher has a deep voice, and she did pretty good for herself. And, high pitched, low pitched, annoying. be yourself. And so again, I kind of have to wait and see, but I'm curious for the future. But again, that's my two happy haunts, my two happy places, and good luck to you all as you continue your own journey. Until next time, bye. Bye bye. Good luck.